The 49ers just signed an absolute monster, and they could have gone a different direction, but they had a very clear plan in mind, and I can't wait to tell you about what we just learned about it in this video. Hit subscribe if you're looking for daily 49ers content, but my goodness, we got to talk about how the 49ers just made a decision to set the edge to stop the run. The 49ers brought that in. And if you stop just at sack totals, you're not going to see this guy, Mykel Williams. Other way, there you go, Mykel Williams over there. This is not going to be the guy that you're going to see at the top of the list on sack totals. But the 49ers wanted something more. They weren't looking for a guy who just gets after the quarterback. They already had that. They wanted to go for a guy, well, arguably, if you go look at the numbers, right? If you look at the numbers, they already had that. But they got rid of him because they wanted a guy who could stop the run. That's what they were looking for. They were looking for a guy who could set the edge, who is an absolute monster, who cannot be beaten, and who is just going to stop the run on that side of the ball. That, I think, is actually pretty exciting. There's a lot, of course, to come in the next several days. And subscribe if you're looking for content like this, because we're going to be talking about this in and out throughout the weekend and then into the next several weeks as we head into rookie minicamp and all sorts of crazy stuff. So there's so much to get to. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on all that. But let's talk about this Mykel Williams pick. Let's talk about what it is. I want to get to rankings because there's a lot of argument already happening on the internet. I've seen it even in the comments about rankings for this particular individual. We're going to get into that as well. Plus, what this means for the 49ers going forward, what this says about what their energy and their focus is going to, what this says about what Robert Saleh is looking for. There's so much here, so stick around for all of that. Let's start again with what PFF's scouting report said. There's some good, some bad, mostly good. We're talking about this dude who's 6'5", 265. He's an absolute monster. If you look at pictures from his pro day when he's running his 40, I mean, he just looks absolutely lean, mean. I mean, it's crazy, okay? But excellent run defender, strong as an ox, good speed to power conversion, even after just his first step. He has one of the nastiest and most violent club moves in the game. His motor runs hot at all times, in no way shy when engaging in contact. He's the type of guy, he's a leader. He's the type of guy that John Lynch absolutely loves and eats up every single day. And this is it's becoming more and more clear to me the more that I'm thinking about this pick that the 49ers have now made it, and it's official and it's done. It makes more and more sense to me, okay? Now we're going to get to rankings in a little bit, okay? So like stick around for that because I understand some of the controversy around how this player got ranked, and I'm not even going to like have most of that argument, but just on the strength side, okay? We have weaknesses we got to talk about later too. But just on the strength side, okay? Let's be hyped for a second. Weight and length, NFL caliber. First step is explosive, can cover a ton of ground, strong, reliable run defender. And by the way, can cover a lot of ground, and experience in a wide nine is really important, or not a wide nine specifically, but experience out wide is really important for a guy who's going to come into what we expect Robert Saleh's system to look like, fitting into Chris Kosurik's defensive line. Like, it's definitely going to matter that you have some experience at that position. The cool thing about Mykel Williams is he also has experience in multiple positions. He has experience wide. He has experience in the C gap. He has experience as an outside linebacker. He's been around. He's played in different positions around the front seven. So I think that's an exciting thing in general. By the way, if you look at how often he was out wide versus not, it's almost split. Not quite split, but almost split in terms of his snap counts in 2024, which I think is kind of interesting in itself. Reporting RSF 49ers, the 49ers reportedly explored trading up. So the question is, who would that have been for? If they explored trading up, who would that have been for? But ultimately stayed put and got their guy at 11 with Georgia edge Mykel Williams, according to Jordan Schultz. So if they're moving up, who's that for? Probably, I'm guessing, Mason Graham, who did not fall. He did not fall at all, by the way. I've actually got it here. I think I do. Yeah. Okay, so this was done by, and I'm sorry, this is not going to fit quite right here. We're just going to have to kind of mess with this here because I kind of forgot about the whole split screen thing. But if you look at, this is from from SF Data Niners. These are all of the players that he put out there based on their chance of being available when the 49ers are going to go up. And if you look down the list from top to bottom, based on their percentage chance of being on the board. So this is basically, not big board rankings. This is like who the consensus mock draft rankings, okay? And you got Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, Mason Graham, Ashton Genty, and Armand Membo all went in that exact order, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So I imagine, I don't know, but I imagine that's what Jordan Schultz is talking about. He's talking about that kind of situation where, should Mason Graham fall a little bit, maybe the 49ers were making phone calls in that situation. They were ready to go. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, the draft is still going on right now, so I'm recording this video, and then I'm about to go sit back down and figure out what I missed. Hopefully not a 49ers move. That would make me really sad. But Robert Saleh had a big voice in ranking the defensive linemen, and Robert Saleh loved this dude. Talking about Mykel Williams. Love it. David Lombardi, new 49ers defensive end Mykel Williams, played a very versatile role in Kirby Smart's scheme, 3-tech, 5-tech, even outside linebacker. Smart has praised Williams' leadership, something that SF is very openly covets. One of the 49ers' pillars, contagious competitiveness. They saw that on tape from Williams and also liked his 30 visit. This is a guy the 49ers would have taken him at 9. They would have taken him at 15. Like, this was the guy they wanted. They were willing to not worry so much about, where his ranking is, which we're going to talk about in a second, but they're not worried so much about his ranking. They just want to get their guy, and they got him. That's genuinely how I feel about this move. I think that's what happened here. Now, let's talk about the rankings, okay? So on one side of the argument, you've got PFF, who ranked him 38 on the big board, okay? And then remember, the big board is not the same as, like consensus mock draft, okay, order. Okay, those are two different things, but whatever. Ranked 38 on the big board. I want to say Jalen Walker, who's the other one out of Georgia, was like 24 or 25, something like that. So a ways back from there, okay? Then you look at NFL's ranking at 8th out of just from edge rushers, okay? Then, and by the way, he didn't run in the combine, which definitely affected that grade. I found NBC Sports, like the normal national NBC Sports, has him ranked number 3 at edge rushers, behind Mike Green and Abdul Carter. So he's right up there toward the top there. And then the big board ranking for NFL Mock Draft Database, it was 14, and he went 11. So take with that what you will. Okay, my 2 cents on the matter, and you can let me know what you think in the comments as always below, but my 2 cents on the matter is pretty straightforward. I think when you get outside of those top 5, 6, 7 players, there's a huge section of players. I'm doing huge, and my arms are outside of the screen. You can't see them. There's a huge section of players that are, let's say 8-ish through like 40-ish that are all moving up and down throughout the offseason that you could say, oh, that guy at one point, he was going to be a top 10, and then that guy at another point was potentially not even going to go in the first round. There's a lot of guys in there that fall into that category. So I'm not too stressed about picks in this draft in that range, especially when we're talking about defensive tackles, because there's so much about getting the guy that you want, getting that guy that fits your scheme, getting that guy that fits your personality, getting that guy that fits your culture. Like, that's what you need to be focusing on, because there are fine margins on a lot of these players. Okay, that's my take. You let me know what you think on that. Of course, does this one still technically play into the whole perspective of the 49ers always draft guys too early? Yeah, I guess in some ways this one does at only 3 picks, but then you look at guys like Ricky Pearsall, and I think he would have been off the board if they'd waited 21 more picks. And we're going to see something special out of Ricky Pearsall very soon. So, all that to say, we have to wait and see. So what does this mean? The 49ers go into the first round of the draft. Their top needs on the line at the edge. Their top needs including let's see here, offensive line, running back, and cornerback. Okay, the free agency exodus has the 49ers looking thin on both the offensive and defensive lines. Defensive tackle is the leanest of the areas of need, but the matter of finding an heir apparent to Trent Williams, who is heading into his age 37 season, demands attention. How do you feel about the first pick, knowing that the offensive line is something that you need to address in the future, knowing that the defensive tackle position is twofold, and it's empty right now. You don't have any top caliber starting defensive tackles right now. So how do you feel about that? Pretty straightforward to me. You feel good about this move. You feel good about it. Guys, seriously, I mean, I'm just telling you my gut. You can disagree with that, of course. I don't think that the guaranteed must-do move in this first round was an offensive tackle. Even though there were guys on the board. Like who was the dude? Who am I thinking of? Josh Simmons, right? Out of Ohio State, who got injured, right? He's on the board. Who else was on the board? Let's see. I'll move this over to the side for you. Mike Green was on the board. Shedeur Sanders. Tyler Warren was on the board. Jalen Walker was on the board. Jahdae Barron was on the board. Shamar Stewart was on the board. I mean, there's a lot of dudes who were on the board. I don't know if you guys can even see that. Derek Harmon was on the board. And honestly, I'm not disappointed whatsoever with this pick. I think this was a great move. I trust the organization with what they're trying to do right now so far. And I think the fact that the depth of this draft at defensive tackle is so heavy, I feel good that the 49ers still have opportunities to go and fill those roles. Don't forget, by the way, that Yetur Gross-Matos, who's our current starting edge right now, if we didn't draft this guy, he also can play in the middle as well. So he's got a little bit of the both there. So we'll have to see how that plays out for the 49ers. But listen, look at this. Look at this. I mean, the draft is not, all right. Don't forget about the rest of the draft picks. I should probably do that too. Subscribe so you don't miss out. And we're going to be covering all of them, of course. But you got pick 43 coming up tomorrow if they don't trade up or trade down, and move in for an opportunity tonight. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Of course, plenty of picks to come. Lots of movement that could happen as we get into those depth rounds. The 49ers have a lot of needs they still have to solve. I still expect them to draft an offensive tackle. I still expect them to draft at least one defensive tackle. So we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out, of course. But we are 33 days away from OTAs. Once we have rookie minicamp, this number will change because we'll have to go to rookie minicamp numbers, and that'll be shorter than OTAs. But OTAs officially in 33 days, which is exciting. OTAs would be phase 3, right? Yeah, phase 3. Sounds good. Maybe it's phase 2, but I think it's phase 3, but whatever, who cares? I'm excited about that, so make sure you are commenting down below so I can see what you guys think about this because I'm hyped on it, but, I've been wrong before. Haven't you?